1 dinar is 100 piasters. Each 70 piasters is $1 American. This is the official exchange rate. If you want to cash it and we are not stopping in some places, of course, I can help you stop at an ATM machine for those who want to draw some money today. We have water for the morning money tea. So because we're going to have a local dessert speak of Jordan, and the local agent will pay for it. We will show you this sweet shop, and then we try to do it there. Okay. This is the journey towards Mecca. But when Islam became the religion, Muslims, they were praying towards Jerusalem, but later on it was shifted towards Mecca, to the black stone which called the Kaaba, where people believe that it was built by Abraham and his son Ishmael. There is only one mosque in the city. The temple of Hercules is a Roman temple. You know Hercules and his famous stories, the guy with the muscles, yeah? The American archaeologists did a good job here. They uncovered the temple and they rebuilt some of the columns. They added some of the drums, as you see. Now, when you is the temple of Hercules, because of the lintel, the stone top of it, it mentions the name of Hercules. The American archaeologists, they were doing excavation here. They found the hand of Hercules. It's a marble stone. The size is this big. The height of Hercules, according to the American studies, is not less than 25 feet. You will see the remainings of Hercules, which is only his hand, at the entrance of the Archaeological Museum of Jordan. Okay? Now, the temple is built over an old Ammonite temple that goes back to the 9th century BC. So when the Romans came here back in the 1st century BC, they did not build big constructions. The golden age of the Roman Empire, it was always the 2nd century AD. 2nd century AD. So this temple built back in the 2nd century AD. When we go out there to the lookout, we'll see the downtown of Amman, the theater, our next stop. Okay? And the theater also is built back in the 2nd century AD, and it will be our next stop. Okay, as a panoramic view from that area. Now over here, the columns, it's a Byzantine church. When we say Byzantine, you know, the year 324 AD, Constantine became Christian and he moved the capital eastwards to ancient Constantinople, which is nowadays present Istanbul. At the old name of Constantinople, it was Byzantium. It was built by Greek military commander, and his name is Byzantium, so it was named after him, and then it became Constantinople, okay, 324 AD, and then the Christians, when Christianity started over there, we started naming them the Byzantines or the Byzantines. So when we say Byzantines, it means the Christians, after 324 AD. So when we say a Byzantine church, a church that was built by the Christians, that columns, it's not very well preserved, and then over there, that dome, it's a new dome of course, reconstructed, rebuilt by the archaeologists of Jordan, and it's a Spanish aid to Jordan. That's the Umayyad reception hall, or we call it the Umayyad Palace. The Umayyads are Arabs who ruled Arabia from the year 661 AD till the year 750 AD, till the mid of the 8th century AD. So that was the reception hall of the prince. The dome is a restored one since 2 years ago. We'll have a look at the panoramic view from there.
Can I ask you, the Umayyad that you mentioned, is the same people as Sodom and Gomorrah that you mentioned?
No, the Umayyad are different than the Umayyads are
Right.
Bani Umayyah.
So
The people that ruled, the one that overthrew Ali.
Oh, okay.
Ali ibn Abi Talib, radiallahu anhu.
Oh.
More details.
So the king of your country is actually, he's related to him. Is the grand and grandson?
This is what we are taught, yes.
Oh, okay.
This is the spectacular view. I mean, you don't have to worry. You can walk down the steps, watch on the steps. And there is a beautiful view for the downtown of Amman.
The Colosseum is still on working?
Sometimes. Now, we'll talk about the theaters. Now, from here, it's a panoramic view for the old city of Amman. Here, when we say that the ancient city of Philadelphia, the old name of Amman, the city of the brotherly love, during the Roman times, it was built over 7 hills, 7 mountains, 7 jebels. Where are the 7 jebels? All of them are around the wadi. This is the wadi of Amman. The wadi of Amman. Now, this is the Acropolis, the upper city, and
not. You can see the Roman theater down there. Amman was always a Roman city. And the population of the Roman cities, like Amman, was during the 2nd century AD. Tomorrow we are touring Jerash. The most well-preserved temples are in Jerash. The population of Jerash was almost 25,000 people. The theater here is the 3 sections. We are going down there and we'll see. We'll try the acoustic. But we still use it. Once in 2 years or 3 years, we have I was over there and they had those kids. It was fun. We had also the Arab Children's Day in the theater. But the famous festival is of Jerash. Jerash is a very well-preserved Roman city, and every year we have a festival. Tens of thousands of people come and visit that place. Jerash, at the end of July and the beginning of August, for almost 3 weeks, you get tens of thousands of people. They go to Jerash. The shows of the performance starts always after 8 p.m. Singers, musicians, plays. Richard the by Shakespeare was the can't see because it's surrounded by trees and all that. You need to be on a higher elevation, higher mountain to see the palace. So from here you can see. When we rebuild it again by using the old stones and adding more decoration for the photography. That place became the reception from the caliph was from Damascus. The city used to be a prince and a governor. The prince, that was his reception. And from here there is a built the church is that one. Most well-preserved churches are in Jerash, Badaba, Maqib, and even in Bedouin. Okay, the view for the old city of Amman, of course, we saw that part over there. And here we get always, Arab mountains, there are always wadis. Between mountains, there are always wadis. Arroyas. This is Wadi al-Haddabi, the name, of course. And no, we didn't have before, 5-6 years, we did not have a road down there. The people built their houses illegally. And then the government came and moved them out, and then they built the road. Became one of the main roads that goes to the north of Amman. Now you can see that the area is inhabited, and you can see the houses are always on top of each other. And the old city, you get always the highly populated areas are always in the old city of Amman. Now here, now look at the between the houses. Sometimes you can see steps, staircases, like steps that goes up to the top of the mountain. Now sometimes there is one road, there's 2 roads in between, and there is 7-point star, black, white, red is the color of the favorite color of the Shimas control the black of the Abbasid Muslims, the green of the Umayyad Muslims, the white of the during the Fatimid rule. But again, nowadays colors do not have any meaning. But again, for the meaning of colors, for the old tradition, the white, the red is the warm blood of the hospitality. White is white heart, white means it is greenery, life of peace. Black is the black days of the enemies. But colors nowadays do not have any meaning. Most of the Arab countries has the same flags. the main shareholder is an Iraqi Christian businessman. When they designed the building, it's like the Babylon Towers. It's on the third circle of Amman Mountain. You can see it from the north, east, and west. Like okay, so the west of Amman is inside. All right, now we're gonna visit the museum. In the museum, there is toilets. Polish the stone. Okay. Now the marble used to be the Romans. They brought it from Asia Minor, which is Turkey nowadays. The height of the statue was 25 feet. That was kept inside the temple. Tomorrow we are going to see the most well-preserved temples in all of Jordan, the Temple of Artemis in Jerash, the city of Jerash, which is Diana. The goddess of Jerash, the Huntress, and the goddess of the moon. The guy of the, I call it the spinach guy. Alright? And what is at the museum? Once we walk into the museum, the toilets will be to the left side. Okay? And walking in the museum, again, I cannot explain because tour guides, they are not allowed to explain inside the museum. Taking pictures 3 days ago was not allowed to take pictures with a flash or without a flash. If they have a new thing, they will let me know right now. But before 3 days, we used to take pictures with a flash and without a flash. What do we have inside the museum? There are monuments that goes back from the Stone Ages, okay? And there are original Dead Sea Scrolls, okay? The one that they were found back in 1947 in the northwest of the Dead Sea area. It talks about a group of people that left the temple of Jerusalem. We call them the Essenes, and they believed in Moses and the Ten Commandments. There were about 5,000 people living northwest of the Dead Sea and Damascus area. There were a small number of people, and we think that John the Baptist left with them for some times. And the Dead Sea Scrolls of this area that they were found, and they can get in the museum. It talks about hidden treasures. Beautiful sculpture, a statue made out of pottery. It has 2 heads. It goes back to the from the 6th to the 8th millennium BC. The first statues or sculptures, they were worshipped by man. They were worshipped by man. For the museum if they need it.
Thanks so much.
Okay, now we'll go down to the orchestra.
Did you run all the way up to the top?
We'll have a race. If you reach up to the top, I'll pay for your lunch.
And if we don't make it to the top?
I'll pay for your lunch.
Okay, very good.
Let's go down and have a look at here. Now, the museum starts right here. Jordan Museum of Popular Traditions. Over there, and this is the photo of there. They're having some kind of let's have a look at here.
Sorry, I didn't mean to walk up.
No, that's all right.
Step. Welcome to the largest theater in Jordan. The theater goes back to the 2nd century. The arrival of the Romans, the newcomers, it was back in 64 and 63 BC, but the golden age of the Roman Empire, as we said, was almost the 2nd century. Temple of Hercules, 2nd century. The theater is a late 2nd century area. 6,000 people can sit in here. It's well, quite well preserved. Some parts are restored. You can see the new limestone that seats, that section over there. If you look to the left hand side here, that's restored. Now, until the 60s, the first level of the seats, it was under sand. Since the last, 1800 years, the rain comes from the top of the mountain, brings sand with it, and the orchestra here is stones that was recycled. It's not very well preserved because back in the 6th century AD, the stones they were taken out of here and it was used for building paved roads. Now, this is a reconstructed paving. Now, the original pavement is always in the corner. You see the new restoration here. The niches here are restored. Stage is built back in the 60s. The backstage, they finished building it only about a year ago only. This is the backstage here. The backstage, the stage, the niches, the orchestra, the seats. The theater can accommodate about 6,000 people. If you squeeze them, 6,225 people can sit here. The theater of Petra, 5,000 people. The small theater, we have a small theater outside here, we call it the auditorium, but it's closed since almost a month. Okay, and it can accommodate about 400 people. That one, it was used for music. It was roof, but this one here is used for everything. Plays, mining, military parade, even music, everything. They had the morning shows and they had also the night shows. The niches here, they had also metal holes in them, but these are the restored ones again. They're new, about 40 years old. They had oil lamps holes in them. We'll see that tomorrow once we go to Jerash. The theaters, most of the time, it was used during the springtime. They had festivals for the fertility idols also. Now, this is a regular Roman theater. It's half circle. The Roman amphitheater is closed, so no gladiators here. The gladiators, the seats even they were higher than these ones. The Roman theaters are a class theaters. Top VIPs sat always in the first level. Middle class soldiers, second level, and then the third for the common and the regular people. Now here, the seats are not reserved for the top VIP. Now when you go to Jerash tomorrow, you'll see that the seats are reserved for the top VIPs, very important people. During the excavation in the Jerash Theater, they found tickets. It says Alpha, Beta, Gamma. It mentions numbers, mentions which the seats that they were booked, reserved for the top VIPs. They choose them so they don't hurt the eyes of the people because of the sunlight. The direction of the colonnades, most of the time is north-south, 9 to 11 degrees, to the west. The same thing for theaters, north-south direction of the theaters. Now, the royal seat of the governor of Amman is very clear, that one. And you can see the stone chairs, still nowadays, they're over there. The acoustics here are, it's supposed to be marvelous, but because we're in the downtown Amman, you can hear the noise, because the shape of it is half circle. So all the noise of the traffic, you can hear it here. But now, this is the cross. You see this cross here?
This here, to your right hand side, the main gate. We'll see it after some time. The students are 20. And the Nabatean Arabs who came to Petra back in the 6th and the 7th century BC, they were controlling the trade routes that comes from Southern Arabia, from the mountains of Yemen and the mountains of Oman. Okay, now sir, hi, testing, 1, 2, 3.
Hello. Mama said hi.
Okay.
In old Jerash, Jordan. We have several Roman cities. We've been to Amman, and this is Jerash. Jerash is the city of the 1,000 columns. It's the Hellenistic Antioch on the Golden River. It was also known Pompeii of the East, and this is also the Latin Jerusalem. The name Jerash comes from the biblical name of which is Jerash. Jerash North is an olive press. The site is quite well preserved. We have the east of the city and we have the west of the city. It's divided by a wadi, and in the wadi there is a spring running water. The name of the spring back in the Hellenistic era, back in the 2nd century BC, it was the Golden River. Nowadays, the name of that spring is Ain al-Qayrawan. According to the Muslims, it's one of the rivers of paradise. The west of the city is very well preserved. The east of the city is the new downtown of the new city of Jerash. We have in the east of the city, around the downtown, we have the Roman bathhouses. The Roman bathhouse, it used to be the main bus station of Jerash until 2 years ago. So if you used to take a local bus in here to Jerash, you used to go to the Roman bathhouse. All buses parking in the Roman bathhouse. It goes back to the 2nd century. Now, Jerash, you can see it from here, from the south to the north. Look at that beautiful building with the beautiful columns. That's the Temple of Artemis that was built back in the 2nd century. We are outside the city walls of the old city of Jerash. There are 3 places outside the city walls. The first one is the Gate of Hadrian, the Roman Emperor Hadrian. He was a great traveler. You know, for some of you has been to England and you saw the remaining of the wall of Hadrian. He came here to the Decapolis League, to the 10 Roman city for a visit. He arrived to Jerash during the winter of 129 to 130 AD. The people of Jerash built for him a memorial gate. This is the Gate of Hadrian, which is under reconstruction nowadays. They are using the same old stones and they add always new stones to preserve. Besides the working shop, of course, is that one. You can see they're cutting the stones. Where you can find always the stone cutters. The way it's designed is like the south gate of Jerash. The south gate of Jerash we'll see, of course, in a few minutes. We're on the tree, and that's the south gate of Jerash, and it's facing the capital of Jordan, Amman. The old name of that gate was Philadelphia Gate, because the old name of Amman was Philadelphia. So the Philadelphia Gate, and the north gate of Jerash is Damascus Gate. Now, the gate of Hadrian, here we have the hippodrome, where we have the horse races, the horses pulling chariots. And nowadays, we were talking to the bus, I don't know if you heard me or not, but we have live horse races here, okay, and the gladiators, and we have also the Roman soldiers with their beautiful, of course, outfit, the clothes, the iron shield, the helmets, and the shorts. We might be able to see them, of course, after 1 minute. The ticket cost is an optional tour. It costs 20 Jordan dinars per person, but that's when you have more free time, of course. It should be organized with the local agent. Now, the hippodrome here is under restoration. It's about 256 meters long. It's located between the Gate of Hadrian and the south gate of Jerash. These doorways used to be stores and stables for the horses. We will walk in and we'll have a quick look at it, and then we'll keep walking to the south gate of Jerash. All of them are girls. There are no boys. One day, the two, the difference of the tribe, because they don't want to get about the mix of education. One day for girls and one day for girls. So you hardly find boys and girls together here. Okay? And these are we call them the MTV generations, the music TV generations.
They bring everything with them.
All of them. All Jordanian girls are good dancers. Take a look at them. Good dancers.
It's funny, they brought everything with them.
Okay, this is where we used to have the horse races here. You can see the arches in the back, the restored arches. Now the arches are restored. You can see 5 arches, and then the central arch, and then another 5 arches to the right side. The arches are restored. Now, the stores and the stables where they kept their animals, the horses. Now, above the stables and the stores, we have the seats. You see the seats here? It's either restored or they were pictured that horses there. Horses running carriers. They started the horse racing under the 5 arches. We have one of the corner towns over there. The referee, there used to be a referee to get the signal and start the horse race.
I know Elliot, Marianne's son, plays the bagpipe. Yes, he does. He's in a pipe band. He goes to a school that I used to have that capacity in the old town.
Yes.
Picture of the Temple of Artemis. You can go in, please. Walk in.
Thank you. So you welcome is Ahlan wa Sahlan, right? No, for yeah, it's the same thing.
I can learn very much.
Yes.
Battery film, disposable camera, postcard, Jerash, battery alkaline, film, battery. Disposable camera, battery film.
We'll go to the South Theater of Jerash. In Jerash we have 2 theaters. In Jerash there are 2 theaters. We have the South Theater of Jerash, that one, and we have the North Theater. It's in the north of the colonnade. The South Theater is very well preserved, so we need to be over there before the kids they go. There might be some students, but I cannot see them. Now, right now we're standing in the Oval Plaza. This place is the Oval Plaza. The old name was the Forum. It's surrounded by 63 ionic columns. The ionic columns, you can see them. It's closed. Now, if you look at the colonnade, that's the colonnade that runs north-south with 9 to 11 degrees west. The colonnade is 800 meters long, about 2,450 feet long. It's surrounded by 160 columns, pillars, to the right and to the left hand side. So 320 columns. Back in the 1981, the government of Jordan decided to have a festival in Jerash. And the festival of Jerash, of course, back in 1981, one of the columns, it was removed from first one over there. It was taken and it was kept here. It was kept there. And the festival, the performance starts at 8 p.m. The late king of Jordan, His Majesty King Hussein and Queen Noor, came to the site, and then the flame came out of the top and got into the other place. And the color remains over there since 1981. Yeah, you don't have it.
You have competition.
Oh yeah.
واحد اثنين ثلاثة ولعت بيني وبين عارف شد عيوني وعيونها يلا تعال
before it gets okay? More constructions, more buildings was added to the Roman cities. For example, the colonnade is you get the Corinthian column. Here in the Ionic.
And what year was Ionic?
The Ionic columns first century. Corinthian here, second century AD in Jerash. Most of the columns of Jerash back in the first century AD, they were Ionic. Second century AD, the Ionic columns they were replaced with the Corinthian columns. The colonnade became a longer colonnade, more constructions, more buildings. They added the temple of Artemis. They added the fountain of Jerash. You see, they added colonnade that runs north-south. We call it a cardo. North-south, that colonnade. It's a cardo. The cardo, the word cardo, it means the spine. The shape of the city is like a cross, east-west, north-south. Spine, cardo, north-south, and then east-west, we call it ecumenos. Deca is 10. Manos, east-west colonnade, you'll see it after some time. It means 10 living quarters or areas. 5 to the east of the colonnade, the main one, north-south, and 5 is to the west. So the city plan is north-south colonnade and east-west. Jerash, the Overclass, I was talking about the festival. We have a festival here since 1981, and the Ionic column in the middle, okay, it was kept over there, 1981. The performance, the show started at 8 p.m. at the start. The next thing of the came here, and the plane, came out of the top until the Olympics and the King's Mile, and the column remained over there. So this column is since 1981. They took it from the, it was the first column to the right hand side, 63 Ionic columns. The purpose of the construction of the Oval Plaza here, it was like a square. Nowadays cities, people they gather here. It was also a gathering place for the Roman worshippers that worshipped the god of Olympus. So they can go up the steps to the wall in this area, which was the Temenos or the body, the temple of Artemis. The steps was uncovered just recently. That's not the original steps. That steps it was rebuilt back in the 6th century. We have a staircase, large in size. Very well preserved. The most well preserved temple in the north of Jordan is the temple of Artemis, our third stone and beautiful columns. The column
Can I ask you a quick question? What was the purpose of that circle? It's just like a downtown city?
Yeah, it's like a city center, yes.
Yes, okay.
A city center, a gathering place. From there, we can go to the north of the colonnade. From there, we can go to the Adelphi Gate. We can go to the Hippodrome. We can go to the Temple of Artemis. We can come up, start here of Jerash. So it's like the entrance of the town.
The kids are dancing.
Congratulated dancer.
Yeah. That's good. Your people are happy, you know.
Play tickets. It says Alpha, Beta, Gamma. Some of it mentions names of the top VIPs. So they choose that spot, that seat, to be the seat of the very important people. So they can avoid the direct sunlight. The theater is facing north-south with about 9 degrees to the west. So 3,500 people can sit in here. The entrance to the theater, like in Amman, you get the archway, you get the stage, and then to the orchestra, you get 2 doorways, 1 and 2, and then you get the 3rd and the 4th. Now the theater here, the stage, is reconstructed, and then you get the backstage. Here, the backstage is one of the most well-preserved backstages in any Roma theater in the entire area. You get 3 doorways, 1, 2, 3, and then the height of the stage is in natural, equal to the height of the theater. But it's the back wall, it was recently restored by the Jordanian archaeolist. Now, we have several niches in the back, the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. The niches are for putting the statue of Dionysius, the gods of wine and theaters. We knew that because of an inscription over there. You can see the round hole. To the right hand side, there is an inscription. It says one of the Roman military commanders, he paid 3,000 for the construction of the first few layers of the seats of the top VIPs, and it was dedicated for the goddess Dionysius, the goddess of wine and theaters. The acoustics here are marvelous. If you put your ears in the round hole here, and you go over there, you can talk to each other, like in the theater of Amman. If you stand the cellar where that girl is standing, you can hear the acoustics. We'll try now, but it won't work. Way to make them stop. Now they're singing the symphony. They're singing the national anthem. This is a beautiful party. Underwear in the sun right now. The colonnade that runs east-west, that's the economics, you can see the colonnade. Over there, that's east-west. We're standing in the west, and the east is Dublin. The colonnade that runs north-south to Dublin, it joins the colonnade that runs east-west to north. It was road, because it is over there. And we'll be walking that place on the same time. There's a circle around it, surrounded by the stores and the shops. The Romans built a bridge from the east to the west, here in the south, and another one in the north, the temple of Artemis. That's the temple of Artemis over there. The most beautiful columns all over Jordan are in the temple of Artemis. We will go and visit the temple after some time. Now, here, the white columns, you can see the white area, the white columns here. This is the agora, or the marketplace of the south of Jerash. The stores, the shops, they were always around the colonnade. The important buildings on the west side of Jerash, but along the colonnade, it's always on the west side of the colonnade. Because if you look at the height of the columns, it's the same height, but sometimes you get 4 longer higher columns than the rest of the columns. When you have 4 columns higher, 1, 2, 3, 4, it means that it's a very important building in the west of the colonnade, on the other side of the colonnade. You get here the agora, you get the fountain, and then you get the, of course, the temple of Artemis. Over there, that house is the new city of Jerash, the east of the old city of Jerash, Gerasa. We can see also that ruins beyond the columns. And there's a white building to the left-hand side. That's the Roman bathhouse, where you get the hot room, the warm room, and the cold room. Now, that bathhouse, as we said, it was the main bus station of the city of Jerash. You used to walk when you want to go back to Amman. You go to the Roman bathhouse, and then under it you find the bus parking under it, and the Roman bathhouse. But now they moved it to the north of the city. And who's this in the morning?
Right.
But the Stone Age village is more interesting than Petra,
Yes, I want to see that.
because
definitely.
it's the first villages that was built
Yes,
in
yes.
the world. So you reach over there, and then you'll see an Arab influence of eagles, the Syrian Arab god Hadad. You'll see also the Egyptian influence, the obelisks, the Egyptian Isis. The location of Petra is very important because it's on the trade routes. To the south is ancient Egypt, to the east is ancient Iraq, and then to the north is the Greek-Roman world and the Syrian Arabs. So they absorb the culture of the other people. Petra is the highlight of all the tour. This is a typical Roman city, but Petra is an Arab city with different influences from the kingdoms that existed around Petra area. The Nabateans, they changed from the nomadic life into life of farming. They settled down in Petra, trade, they became merchants, they bring the frankincense from the Ammonite ports to the north, and some of them, they were also the stone cutters. It was a tribal business. We'll talk more. And 2980, it was the church of Saint George. St. George, okay? The second one here, we have 4 columns, you can see them, the conical columns. This is the church of John the Baptist. Okay? The third one here is the church of Cosmos and Damianos. Who's Cosmos and who's Damianos? Now, who are they? Yeah. Their IDs, what is their ID? Now, look at that Greek inscription. Of course, the official language of the East Church is always ancient Greek. Now, what is written over there? It talks about the story of Cosmos and Damianos. Cosmos and Damianos, they are twin brothers. They were born around the area of Jerash, and they went to Syria for education. Now, they came back to Jerash during the Roman rule, the Roman era. Okay, they came back here, Christians, and they were doctors. They used to give a free treatment and medicine, herbs, for the ill Byzantine Christians in secret. So a lot of people used to go for them, and they used to become Christians after giving them their medical treatment and talking about Christianity. So Christianity spread in Jerash in secret during the Roman era, okay, because of Cosmos and Damianos. Now, Cosmos and Damianos, they were tortured by the Romans and they were killed. So we call them the martyrs of Jerash. This church was built back in the year 533 as a memorial for Cosmos and Damianos. The mosaic floor is very well preserved because the mosaic floor was under the stones when the church was destroyed back in the year 749 AD. 749 AD, an earthquake hits all Jordan and most of the old villages are destroyed. That includes Petra, Jerash, Amman, Nadaba, Mount Nebo, all the area. Thanks God, when the archaeologists uncovered it, they found the mosaic floor. The mosaic floor in the first church of St. George, the second one of John the Baptist, is not well preserved. They're taken away, stolen by people in the 1800s, 1900s, at the beginning of the 20th century. But here, it's very well preserved. And if you look at the design of the church, we call it the Syrian Basilica Church. The word basilica is an ancient Greek word. It means a room that had an apse. The apse is like a semi-half circle room where the Greek emperor used to sit in it in his royal seat. The Byzantines, the Christians of this area, of Greater Syria, they copied the same design. They get the entrance to the church is always from the west. The direction of the apse of the church is to the east. You get the nave and the aisles. If you look at the mosaic floor, this is the most well-preserved one in all Jerash. You can see the animals of the area, back there. You can see, if you want to see the mosaic of Cosmos and Damianos, the two brothers, between the two trees, if you look over there, behind the altar, there's two trees.
Where?
Over there, that corner. You can see the bird?
Yes,
The
yes.
sparrow over there. That's
Okay.
Cosmos. Okay, the two trees, and here, beyond this stone here, there's Demianos.
Yeah.
Cosmos and Demianos. They're doing like this. Like this, it means actually peace. When you have...
We call them cosmos and beings.
Okay.
I'm still grappling.
I have no idea what that would get like. I mean, I know basic.
Now put your finger also under the column. Up and down.
What is it? It moves?
Want to go down?
That's what she said.
You
can feel
Maybe because you're blocking the way. You got to aside.
Yeah.
You can move aside if you want. That's cool. Quietly.
Strong wind, it moves more. Actually, I can move it like this.
Oh, the spoon moves.
I'm moving it with the finger. Look at me, I'm so strong. I'm very strong.
You do the one finger push, pull up too.
So they purposely made it like
this
that?
is for earthquakes. When you have an earthquake, these columns used to observe the shock of the earthquake and did not collapse. When you have an earthquake, it goes on moving this way. Until nowadays, look at this wood, it moves, drops. If you put the fingers, you can feel it also. It moves. If you have a sharp eye and you have a paper or anything, a piece of wood or a ruler, you can put it. You can see it. It moves from the top. It shakes a little bit. The first one moves. The second one moves. A lot of columns in Jerash moves.
Oh.
So they were trying to build columns that moves, that rocks. But not all of them. Some of them only. It suggests that one of the engineers reached to an idea, of course, to build columns that observes, sucks the shock of the earthquake. And it works until nowadays. Look at this movement. It goes up and down. Very beautiful. Sometimes we have to push it, Nowadays I can push it with one finger. Yes. Sometimes I need two fingers. Sometimes I have to get up and push. Sometimes we ask our beautiful clients to bring umbrellas, just in case. Usually, when you look at the column here, one piece, second, third, fourth, you get four, sometimes 5 pieces, 6 pieces. Each drum, its weight is about over 2 tons. Over the drum, okay, there is a hole. This to put a piece of lead or iron between to hold them together. You'll see some of the columns, they have always holes in the top, both pieces, and then to carry them up the crane. The weight is about 2 tons here. And look at the beautiful limestone. Now, the most beautiful columns all over Jordan is this one. Look at the capital, look at the details of the acanthus leaves. The height here is about 13 meters. It's about 40 feet. The temple is of the daughter of Zeus, Artemis or Diana. She was the goddess of the city, the huntress, and the goddess of the moon. The temple is built over a tunnel. Okay? When you go over there and you look down, there is a tunnel. It was used as a storage by the priest, and to build a tunnel, the temple over a tunnel, so they could see the temple from the north, south, and east and west. Now, when you walk from the gate of Hadrian to the north, you can see the columns. When you walk from the west to the east, you can see the columns. When you walk to Jerash from the north to the south, you can see the columns. So it's designed, if it's not built over a mountain, okay, they always build a tunnel, and then you find the foundation of the building all built around it, and then you get the big columns over the top, and then in the back of the columns you get the holy of the holies, which is that big room. The stones also is a limestone. We have several niches inside where they used to put the statue of Artemis, and in the back we have a big niche for putting the goddess, of course, Artemis inside. It was always wood and the stone. Look at the stone, there are hundreds of little holes in it. The Romans used to bring the marble stone from Asia Minor, from Turkey, and they used to put it over the stone, the wall of the temple. Of course, it was decorated, had beautiful frescoes. Okay, let's give it a chance. These tables had 7 arches. Here, the steps are 7 lunar calendar. The number 7 is the lucky number of the fertility idol since the 6th millennium BC. This is from an archaeological point of view. We'll put religion aside. Everyone believes in number 7, but this is from our archaeological point of view. Number 7 is an image of the fertility idols. When the man was worshipping the fertility idol before the goddesses, females, he was not worshipping a male idol. One of her images is number 7. According to the mythology, she got pregnant, okay, and she was represented as an urn. You see a lot of urns in Petra. Okay? The urn is fertility and death, and believing in the afterlife. Now, it's one of the images of the fertility idols because they depend on the lunar calendar. The first 2 weeks of the lunar month, we get a full moon. It's like an urn. Number 7. 7. Okay, 7. Third week, fourth week, moon is gone. The first 2 weeks of the back in the 6th millennium BC when people used to work, okay, they worked always in the first 2 weeks. Fertility, pregnancy. Third and fourth week, no work. So they get to work half of the year, the other half is off. So number 7 is the number of the fertility idol back in the 7th millennium BC. This is the meaning of number 7 from an archaeological point of view. Religions put it aside. Number 7. 7 walls, 7 skies, 7 earth. It was 7 circles, marriages 7 times. And, I put the religion always aside. We just we discuss only archaeology here.
Yeah.
Back in 106 AD, and they started to control the trade routes. These shops here, it could be the shops of selling, the incense, frankincense, the one that was always used by the Greeks, by the Romans, by the Arabs. Until nowadays, we still use it. You burn it and then sweet smell. You can use it in a temple, you can see it, use it in your house. The Nabateans of Petra, over the roof of their houses, they had an incense burner. They used to burn it every day. The incense in Yemen, 2,000 years ago, one little jar, urn this big, of the fresh incense from Yemen, it used to cost 1 silver coin. When it came with the Nabateans along the trade routes, according to the archaeologists, when it reached to Damascus area, it was over 400 silver coins. When it reached to Rome, it was over the price more than 500 silver coins for the little urn of the incense. So stores here for things that was used or donated or given for Artemis before the visit or to worship her before walking into the temple. So they can offer her either incense or myrrh. It could be regular shops of wine, selling wine also. But the large one here definitely is shop for selling incense.